We live in a different world today. Technologically, a lot has changed from 2010 till now. I was reading something the other day and I found this, and I think it was by a guy called Rick McCullough. He's the president of PSA Security Network, Colorado, United States. And he says this, and I quote, he says, the biggest change in the security industry over the past decade has been the rapid advancement of the Internet of Things. End of quote. Even though we relish this, this rapid advancement and its instant benefits, the benefits of sending an instant message, we have, you want to do a phone banking transaction, the person gets the money instantly. You want to share information, the person gets the information instantly. There is a dark underbelly to all of this, and it's the threat of information data sabotage. And preventing this means being abreast with the latest trends to keep the threat away. So hello, everyone, and welcome to EB Speaks. My name is Ibinabo Enebi, and listen, I want to thank everybody who is joining me for the first time and all my faithful viewers and subscribers. I am delighted that you're here, and if you're a first-time subscriber and if you're wondering what my channel is about, I'm going to tell you my channel is about encouraging, motivating, and informing you to make better and intentional decisions for yourself. And I do this by bringing in everyday people, thought leaders and experts, and people like you and me to share their stories and expertise, because I believe that our stories and our expertise would serve as streetlights that would help, streetlights and survival kits that would help those that are coming behind us. So I think last month, I started a series titled Avoiding the Later Life Crisis series. And the series is aimed at, sharing insights on how to do things better to avoid crisis later in our lives. And I have 5 episodes done already, and I'd like you to check it out. Very interesting insights. And today's episode is the sixth installment, and it's titled Smart Security Options in Today's World. And to do justice to this topic is my special guest, George Ikoli-Spiff. He wears many hats, and he's an information technology, cybersecurity, and cloud solution expert. Welcome, George, to EB Speaks. George?
Hi, Ibinabo. Thanks for having me here. Hello, everyone. Hi, Christiana. Hi, Don Dave. Nice to see you all.
Thank you very much. I'm just trying to adjust my my camera, because I'm using a camera and the camera is just facing one position. So I want to just bring it out so I can be looking directly at the camera. So just 1 second now. So thank you, George, and thank you. Oh, Christina, hi, that's my cousin. Wow, Christina, Don Dave, thank you. So at the end of this conversation, I hope that George.
Maybe if you can move the camera to your left a little bit.
The camera to my left. Yeah. Yeah. So it's the screen. How do I do it? No, I think this is okay, George. I don't want to upset anything. I just wanted to face the camera.
It's fine. Yeah.
Okay. I knew that I knew you now. You're the expert. So let me just check this out. So I'll be reading through my phone. So I hope that you don't get distracted, because I'm just going to look down here. So at the end of this conversation, I hope that George will be able to awaken your awareness of the importance of information data security and provide you with the knowledge of what the threats are and how you should be safe. And he's going to give you an information on, the best practices. And listen, if you're just joining me for the first time, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe as Ibinabo Enebi. You can be a part of this conversation by leaving your comments in the comment box below. If you're watching via Zoom, and if you're watching via YouTube, in the comment section. And listen, just leave your comments coming so that my guest, George, will be able to answer as many questions as possible. He is an expert, is one of the best we have in the country. And listen, there's a lot to learn. And George, I am learning a lot today. I'm a student. I have my my paper and I have my pen.
I'm flattered that you said I'm one of the best in the country.
Of course, George.
That is what we are aiming at.
George.
We're almost there. We're almost there.
George, I don't want you to listen. Not because you know me and I know you. I don't want you to. Okay, I like the humility. But George, before we even go into the conversation, right, I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself. I deliberately didn't want to say anything because I wanted you to tell us about yourself.
All right, let me give a little background about myself. Hello, Temitope. Hi, Mike.
Yeah.
Nice to have you guys here.
Nice to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you, George. George is my faithful. Mike is my faithful brother. Temitope is my faithful sister. And George, let me just say something quickly before you start about Temitope. Temitope is a gospel artist. She's a very dear sister to me.
Whoa.
She's available for invitation to minister in weddings and anything you're doing. She's a very dear sister to me. So I just wanted to put it out there so that you know.
Okay. I used to sing myself in the choir when I was in school.
When was that? Which one?
In Uniport now.
Joe, I didn't see you sing. Were you in a Night Fest?
No, I was in a BLW.
Believers Love World.
Yeah.
I didn't hear you sing. I wasn't going there. That. Okay, George, tell us a little bit about yourself. Let's not expose ourselves. Just.
Yeah. So, my name is George Ikoli-Spiff. I studied computer science and mathematics from the University of Port Harcourt. I graduated and I've worked for various IT companies, leading IT companies, leading local IT companies and international organizations. So I've worked for Saptech, I worked for Microsoft, I worked for Printronix, I worked for a subsidiary of Econet Wireless in various capacities until I started my IT organization. Now, the name of my organization is called Stilcon Technologies Limited. We are an IT solutions company specializing mainly in cybersecurity and cloud solutions. So that's what our business is around. And we have been fortunate to provide solutions to big companies, both governments and financial institutions in Nigeria. For instance, Sterling Bank, NIBS, Nigerian Inter-Settlement. I keep forgetting I'm so used to calling it NIBS. It's
you don't have to bother. We all know what it is.
Yeah. So just to mention a few. So we prefer solutions to them. Cybersecurity it's big. It's a big industry, and we are growing every day in it.
Okay, George. Yeah. First and foremost, right? I just want to say thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And I know that you are very busy. You haven't had sleep. You haven't slept because I knew that you were attending a virtual conference in the United States of America. So you're, I think you're kind of like vertical, what is it called? The vertical jet lag, because you had to stay up all night, and you had to be at an event, but because it's more, you still had to make it. So I'm very happy, because you should be resting, but you're here. So I really, really appreciate it. Now, George, you've talked about the services that you provide for the big companies, and we're talking about smart security options. And as we were talking about all these big companies, multinational companies, you worked on Microsoft and you worked on all of these companies. And I'm talking about cybersecurity. So I'm asking myself, what, let me just go back to the question the way I wrote it, so that it makes sense, so that I really do make sense. So we talk about the risk of data sabotage. And when we talk about that, right, quite a few people will be asking these questions. And I'm asking the question myself. I'm saying, who is looking for me, right? An average Joe. And what would they want my data for? And is there any real threat that the information of the average Joe, average IB is under threat? And if yes, what are the risks and what are the implications of such risks?
Okay, so when you're talking about the average Joe, you're talking about yourself as an individual.
Yes, because you deal with companies, right?
Yes, I deal with companies. I deal with individuals also, because I also have to educate individuals on the risk of leaving themselves exposed. You have to agree with me that most of the things that we do nowadays is online.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're glued to our mobile phones, as it were.
Yeah.
We're doing our banking transactions on our phones. We are making purchases online, and in some of these platforms, your credit card details are stored.
Mm-hmm.
There have been cases where some of these online companies, online platforms have been hacked, and customer information was gotten. That means credit card, customer names, name it. So we are exposed every day. And the thing is, a lot of individuals don't realize the importance of protecting themselves until they become victims. Let me take a case in point. I had a friend who went to her email box, and there was a supposed mail that was sent to her from her bank.
Yeah,
that happens. And they told in the mail, she was told to click and put in her details.
What?
Now she felt, because the interface looked exactly like her banking interface, and she felt that it was safe for her to put her details in. Now, all the banks will tell you they will not ask you for your PIN. But she went ahead and put her details. In the next couple of minutes, her account was cleared. And she started running from pillar to post to try and solve it. Now, she's not the only one that has experienced such, that has fallen victim for such fraudulent scams. Yeah. There are other people, there are small organizations also who are falling victim for such fraudulent scams. So there is always a need to be educated like I said, we don't take it. For most females, they can tell you what is the latest program on Telemundo. Or
George, I take exception. I don't watch Telemundo.
Hold on. Or what are the latest fashion tips? They are up to date on things like that. But if you ask them what level of security that they have to protect their data, information, they don't. In fact, most of them don't even, they are basically ignorant. They look ignorant. In fact, they're not that they look ignorant, they are ignorant of it. It sounds
George,
like
George, not everybody, not every woman is. This cuts across board.
I'm not saying I'm not referring to women. I just used women.
People.
Yeah, people, as an example. It cuts across board, yes. So you find out a lot of people have not developed that interest yet, and they need to develop that interest in order to protect themselves, because they stand to lose a lot. Even a lot of organizations have not yet seen the need. I was on a program last week, and I said during the program, if you're starting a business, one of the things that must be in your plan is protection, security for your business. You must have it as part of your plan. A lot of companies don't see any need. Okay, they don't get hacked, but the day you get hacked, that is when you know the value of having a security plan in place. Recently, there's a bank in Nigeria that fired their chief information security officer. Why? Because there was a breach. Now, this was not public knowledge. Sorry, I'm not hearing you.
I can hear you. I can hear you. This fine.
Okay, so this was not public knowledge, but because I am in that space, I got to hear. Now, I don't hear of every attack, but we get to hear some, because corporations or banks would not want their customers to know that their infrastructure has been breached. You understand? But the management, someone had to take a fall for it. So the person in charge of ensuring that their infrastructure was protected had to take the fall. So these things happen every day. So it is important as individuals to get protection for your data. And a lot of people think it's expensive. No, there are affordable solutions.
George, we're going to get to the solution bit, because I want us to build up till we get to that point. Okay. So the next question, thank you very much for that. The next question I want to ask you, right, is, again, I think you talked about it a little bit when you talked about the lady who got an email.
Empty.
Yes, and her account was emptied. When, you know, people keep saying, the banks keep saying, do not click on anything. Sometimes even when you're just on your phone, you would get this message from a bank, and the bank keeps saying, don't, right? So you've answered one of the questions that I wanted to ask. So what are the things that we do that can put us at risk? That's one. Clicking on links can put us...
Clicking on links unverified links.
Okay.
Clicking on links, unverified links.
Okay.
I personally don't click on links.
Okay.
I'm not sure of the source of the link.
Okay. George, now this takes me to the next question, because sometimes, right? So you want to buy something on Amazon, or you want to buy something on a website that you buy from normally. And because, of course, your information is there, you could get a text message to your phone to say, this one, that one, that one, this, that, and then you now click. So how would you know? Because now what you've just said to me is that sometimes hackers can actually hack into any company's security system,
yes,
and then hack. There was one time I was actually trying to do a job interview, right? A job, and I saw this thing by one company like that, and so I now clicked and applied. And as they were, so they now said, okay, they were going to talk to us on WhatsApp. I was like, okay, let me see where this is going. So I began to ask some questions. So they asked me if I had an Amazon account. And immediately my brain was like, if they ask me if I have an Amazon account, if I try it, most of the time, sometimes your bank details are on the Amazon. If I give these people access to my Amazon account, they have gone to my Amazon, they have seen my world. So somehow I was okay. And then I began to I just typed the company that they said they were working for. And during the so-called WhatsApp interview, I now went to the company, and then the company
you did the background check.
I did a background check. So I went to the company they said that they were recruiting for immediately. As they were typing with me on WhatsApp, I was typing on the company, and the company gave several disclaimers. We don't do this, we don't do that. So I asked them, listen, who exactly are you? Or they said, oh, they are so company. And they now began to tell me about who the company is and what the company I've already checked. So that was a very generic answer. Then I said, I want to talk to a customer service representative. And then they now gave me a link to the customer service. However, I had already checked on the website, and I knew the way the customer service of that website. I knew I didn't even call it again. Said the URL. The way, yes, the customer. I knew the way it was, and the one they had given to me was something that they formulated that also linked me to another scam. And I said, I think you're liars, and I think you're scammers. And then, luckily for me, I had sent a message to the contact us. And I've sent them a message, and they got back to me and said they are scam. And then I went back and I told those guys that you guys are scammers. And then they left. But if you were not aware of if you're not just aware, that's how you'll be clicking and clicking and clicking on things, and you just click your life away. So that I'm just giving you my own experience just about two weeks ago. And then I've lost my train of thought because I was trying to give you this experience. Because this experience that I had is just like an experience that everybody may have, but not everybody is aware that, okay, you can actually go do a background check quickly and be observant of the content of the email addresses that they give you, because most of these scam companies may come across as genuine companies. So you may actually click on the links that they give you. So, so my question then would be, what are the best practices? Like, how can we know? What can we do? Some people are not computer savvy. Some people. So, George, how do we protect ourselves? How do we know if a link? So the question is, how can we verify those links? You're saying that you don't click on any link that is not verifiable. Some people get scammed on LinkedIn. Some people get scammed on Instagram. You see sponsored ads from credible platforms, and you think, okay, this is LinkedIn, oh, this is Instagram, oh, this is Facebook. So how do we know the link that is a verified link? That's the long and short of my question.
Okay, so IB, You've already answered this question yourself.
Okay.
The example that you gave just now of your experience speaks directly to this question. The reason why you were able to know that they were scammers was because you've had prior knowledge. You had some level of education to know. The moment you started engaging them, something in you prompted you to let me check these people that I'm talking with. And that is how you were able to save yourself the headache and the heartbreak. A lot of people do not go through the process that you are going to. The Bible says, my people perish for what? Lack of knowledge. The reason why a lot of people go through this is down to a lack of knowledge, which is why constantly we are always trying to educate individuals and organizations on the need to secure their environment. The hackers, they do not rest. I remember I was talking to you offline earlier, where I told you one of the safest and affordable security setups you can have is to have an MFA, a multi-factor authentication, where you have different layers of and I found out recently that there was an organization that had that in place. The hackers bypassed it to penetrate that organization. So these guys, they are not sitting down and folding their arms. They are trying every day to find means of breaking, of hacking into networks, individual data, finding whatever means that they can get. So they are not resting. It all boils down to education. Education. You said something. It looks authentic. To the untrained eye, it looks authentic. When you see the interface, it is exactly. But if your eyes are trained, you know what the things to look out for.
Which are?
You talked about URL. Because you went, you saw the customer service. And
yes,
what
I saw
they
the
gave you was different from what you had gotten. And that was how you were able to confront them, to tell them, look, you guys are scammers.
Yeah. Wow.
So they do it. They do it in various means. I don't know whether you get calls telling you. In fact, I got a call recently, and the guy was telling me they mistakenly sent some money to. Once the guy mentioned they mistakenly sent some money, I just cut off the call. I didn't even continue the conversation because guess what? I knew it was a scam. So I didn't even entertain the guy. I didn't continue the conversation, but I knew. But you know what? There are some people out there that will continue the conversation and they will fall prey to it.
Like, I'm really very worried. Like, I'm really very worried as to how and why people would like, I get calls all the time from some funny countries. I see all sorts of, I don't know how they got my phone number. All sorts of calls from all sorts of countries, and they ring like for like 3 seconds, or sorry, maybe 20 seconds.
And go off.
And go off. And I don't even answer them. Now I'm still because I'm very careful with my number. So I don't know how they got my number. But all the time, I get those calls.
It could be that someone who has your number had their phone hacked.
Okay.
So when they hack their phones, they get all the contacts. It's the same thing with your Facebook, where someone hacks your Facebook page and starts sending all sorts of funny messages to all your contacts on Facebook. Or you find out that you're in a WhatsApp group, then all of a sudden one number, you notice it's out of pattern. Yeah, it's out of pattern with that individual sending some funny messages. You will know that that person's phone has been hacked.
Okay, now George, I want us to go, because I was going to ask you a question about social media and safe practices, and just you've just gone there. So let's ask, so we've talked about, emails online, right? And you've explained to me why I get some of those rogue calls, and it could have been that somebody's phone has been hacked. Now, because you see, when I'm thinking about this, right, for me, people in my generation, at least, we're still trying to be abreast. We're constantly online, reading, doing research. So we're kind of like aware. Sometimes, I never tell you this, Joe.
Dinosaur generation.
Great extinction. I want a dinosaur. Yeah, go for me. But you know what I'm saying? And you'll be surprised at how a lot of people our age are still like, I'm not sabi any of those things. But anyways, thank God. Believe me, let me just continue. So a lot of people, right, are like, okay. So I'm talking for like, okay, the older generation, because my elder sisters they are like in their 6th floor and 7th floor, that kind of thing. And they are doing very well. If I don't tell you, you wouldn't know. So I'm thinking for those people. And we talk about phone hacking. How do we protect our mothers, our brothers, our sisters, our elderly parents, because they all have these phones? How do we protect their phones from being hacked? How do they protect their phones? So what do I tell, assuming my dad was alive now, because I knew that he would use smartphone if he was alive. I know it. How do I protect him? What would I say to him, Daddy?
Simple, it all comes down to education. The way you protect your elders is the same way you protect your children.
So what do I tell them? So yes, what do I tell them?
So what I do with my mother,
okay,
and my kids, once I get information about any threats or any new methods that hackers are using to penetrate, people's data and networks, I communicate it to them immediately. Now, let me use my son as an example. My first son is in the university.
It's a lie. George, which day? So, which day did you want the son that is in university, George?
You think all these gray hairs are for nothing?
George, which day? So please, sorry, George, which day you want to begin with the university? I don't die.
He's going into his 3rd year now.
God, George, I've got to meet him. I just still looking for that.
When next year in Nigeria?
Wow.
So, as I was saying, I give him a call, and during our conversation, he tells me, he said, Dad, I got a call from some funny chap asking me for certain information. I didn't listen to him. I dropped the call.
Okay.
I was proud because it showed me that he was listening to what I was telling him. So you can imagine the lean money he had in his accounts, what could have happened to it if he had continued with the conversation. because most of these hackers, they don't know who they are talking to.
Okay.
They don't know, so they are just trying. Is try and error. Tony, don't worry, she's not embarrassing me.
Tony, it's okay. Okay.
So it's what you call phishing. So it's like they are throwing their net out there to see who that they can who their latest victims will be. So as I said earlier, if you don't have the information, you fall victim of it. You will.
Okay. So another question I'm going to ask you, so which is very important, because sometimes, sorry, my camera is acting up. Yeah, I have to change this. This is another camera I'm using. So George, so another question I'm going to ask you is this, right? So if you get a strange call, from somebody, what are the answers you should, so the first thing to do is obviously never to answer the call. But what are the informations, assuming somebody still doesn't want to listen? So what are the informations you should never give a stranger? Even if the person says they're your bank.
I don't give out my banking details.
Okay, don't give out your banking details.
Yes, as a policy, I don't give out sensitive, let me use it, sensitive information.
Like what?
Passwords, banking details, my PIN numbers, anything that will make me vulnerable.
Okay. Okay. So you don't give out sensitive information, password, PIN numbers. Now, another thing I want to ask you, and we're still talking about social media, right? I was on Facebook one day, right? And I was just sitting down and just looking. And a lot of people have the habit of, when they're on Facebook, right? Maybe they travel. And then they now maybe they're staying in a hotel. And then they now lodge that hotel. They put, so maybe they're in Dubai, for example. They would say, okay, they're in Emirates Lounge, or they're in Turkey, or they would now put just landed so place. Some people just put their life. So there was one Baba that's my friend on Facebook, and I was just, he went on holidays. How did I know that he went on holidays? He went to a city. He puts the city. Oh, I'm staying in so place. I'm going to meet my friend in so place. And I'm like, what? Do you understand? I'm like, what's happening? And then when some people are writing on Facebook, they write the full names. Facebook is no longer the way it used to be. It's a jungle now. So you find people writing all their children.
Social media is a jungle.
And so they write their big informations and everything. And I'm like, what exactly is this? So what are the safe practices? So, okay, let me ask you this. Can somebody find out your details about your detail from how you share on social media? Can they get vital information from you on your social media?
Of course, they can get information from you, about you, from social media. How your children look, how your spouse looks, where the places that you frequent, where you work. You just mentioned something, you traveled somewhere, and you're already giving out all your details because you feel that you're secure. But the thing is that you don't know who is watching. I'll give you an instance of when I was in school when I was in Uniport. And in my year 3, I had some guys walk up to me and give me information about myself from year 1 to year 3. Now, I never used to talk to these guys. I think I had just even seen them for the first time. But I never knew that there was somebody watching me. I was just going about my normal business.
Quiet as you were.
Quiet as I was. Being a good boy.
Yes, I can testify to that.
Yes. Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah. I can testify to that one.
And I mean, these guys came and they gave me my lowdown. It's the same thing when you put so much information about you on social media.
So, George, what are the safe things? So sometimes I put my children's pictures once in a while. When Facebook first started, when I joined in 2008.
No, I mean, that's what social media is there for, really. I put up pictures of my children once in a while, during their birthdays. Aside from that,
is it not safe to put birthdays? Because from birthdays, they can know the dates, they can know the year, and those are also very sensitive information as well.
Yes, I know, which is why I'm saying all this. It's so I mean, we live in a world that okay, take for instance, we're on YouTube now.
Yes.
Someone can hack our talk right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if the person feels like some of them do it for fun, they just want to.
It happens to me before.
Around. Yeah. So it's don't put as much information out there. Just whatever is necessary, because for some of us, we use social media
as
work to sell our business. We can't shut down completely because of hackers or criminals that are looking for ways to be fraudulent. No, we can't. So whatever information that you have there, make sure that it's absolutely necessary and it doesn't divulge much about you.
For example,
your place of residence. You might not be able to hide your place of business.
Okay.
Because if you want people to do business with you, they have to come to your office to do business with you. But I mean, your residence, your residential home, your home is something that should be very private to you and to those that you want to know about it. But as much as possible, just basic information. They don't need to know too much about you.
Okay, so your home should be a no-no. Nobody should know where you live.
For me, yes, personally, it should be a no-no.
Okay. All right. And then unnecessary exposure to where you are, where you're staying. I just went to so place. I wasn't at that place. Okay, fine. And just quickly, if you have any questions or comments, please leave your questions or comments in the comment section below. And my guest, George, is going to answer your questions. Now, George, I think that in course of this conversation, what we've done is that we're answering you're kind of like answering my questions, in bits and bobs. But then I want to read something that you wrote, and I want us to answer the next question, which is going to be the solutions. We've already answered it, but sometimes, somebody wants, the answers, in a structured way. So I do that sometimes. So we've talked about the solutions here and there in course of our conversation, but then what I want us to do is now to like answer it, so that if somebody is looking for solution, the person just, okay, this is the question that you asked and this is the answer. So I'm going to read something that you wrote, and I'm going to read it. So you said here, with the ever increasing levels of information data sabotage, it has become highly important that we understand the several available ways to protect our privacy and ward of intruders. So how do we protect our privacies, and in what way can we shush them away?
Okay, so it's in two forms.
Okay.
The first is data, your information. So how do you protect your privacy? So I mentioned at the beginning of the program that a lot of us, this is our best companion.
Yes.
Right now, because we do everything on our mobile devices. So how do you protect it? I mentioned multi-factor authentication. There are mobile how will I put it? There are mobile security solutions that are affordable, that you can install on your phone to help protect against malicious attacks. Another thing is security awareness training. Like I said, October, we don't need to wait for October. Every October, no. We can subscribe to one or two security newsletters, newsletters that would send to you periodically what is happening in that space, the new threats that are available, what to do and what not to do. So these things can help to mitigate against future attacks from intruders, as it were. Okay. So these are just a few of the solutions that are available, because study has shown that most of the attacks nowadays are done through mobile devices. Okay. And that is why even organizations are taking steps to protect their networks by getting solutions for their employees, mobile solutions for their employees. So it's installed on their mobile devices, because a lot of people have their emails and all that on phones. I had a customer who has a critical staff. Now that staff has an Office 365 email installed on his phone. And with him, he has all the details of the company. He's the one that does the transfers, does the purchases, everything, all those critical aspects of the business. And his phone was hacked. So for 1 week, he had no access to his phone, to his emails. he could not use it. And the funny thing about it is, about a month before that time, before that incident, I had gone to them to propose a mobile solution for them that was affordable. And the value I was giving to them was, you don't need to get it for all your staff, but your critical staffs that would need this. Later on, you can scale up to include everybody, but start stage by stage. You can have a plan around it. And this happened. Now, because I am a solution provider to them, I had to step in to help them to retrieve his email. So we had to get Microsoft involved. And that was how, after a week, so you can imagine the downtime they had suffered, the amount of business they had lost within that 1 week that this guy was down.
Okay, George, I have some questions here, and thank you very much for that. I have some questions here. I suppose, the reason why we have listeners or people watching us is because they also want to have questions answered. So somebody says here, thanks, EB. Please, what's the implication of leaving our mobile location active wherever we go?
Implication of leaving your
mobile phone's location active wherever you go.
Okay, so that has its own advantages. Just in case anything happens to you, one, your people can locate you.
Okay.
But also, other people can locate you. People that might be looking for you. You ask yourself how, at times, how do kidnappers operate? Especially when you watch all these high-tech movies that give us a glimpse, an idea of how these things work. So people are able to hack into a system and find out where your exact location is at every point in time, and they can get to you. One of the safest ways for me is my family always knows where I am 90% of the time, or 95% of the time. They always know 95% of the time. If I'm leaving Lagos and I'm going to another place in Nigeria, the moment I land there, they know. The moment I get to my hotel, they know. So they kind of have my itinerary. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong in putting your locator on. No, I've stated the advantage of having that. It's good, but also it has its own disadvantages.
So it's a multi-edged sword. It's a two-edged
sword. Everything has its advantage and disadvantage. If you drink whiskey, you take too much, it has its own disadvantage. Or should I say, if you take red wine,
yeah,
if you take the right amount, it's good for your body. But when you take too much,
yeah,
it becomes bad. So everything has its advantage and its disadvantages. It's just that some have a higher level of advantage than disadvantages.
Okay. Now, George, thank you very much for that question. And I hope that George has been able to answer that question for you. The next question is, how do we protect our children from cyber attacks since we are not with them, especially as a lot of them are always on their mobile phones?
It still brings me down to the same thing I said before. Education. They need to constantly inform them of the latest trends. So you as a parent, you have to be informed for you to be able to inform them.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, continue. Okay, so like I know that like in my daughter's school here now, right? What they do is they teach them about.
Sorry, I see Mike's hand is up.
Mike has this question here. His question is here. I just read his question.
Okay.
Yeah. So like here, maybe I have a teacher here as well. So she's just here right on time. Like in my daughter's school here, right? They teach them safe internet practices. They teach them that constantly. Yes. Safer ways to access the internet. So they know who to talk to, they know who not to talk to and all of that. So maybe, we should also have those kind of practices as well. Because you see, George, the thing is, sometimes the information we say we should be abreast with the what's it called now, with the trends, with the latest trends. Listen, there's so much going on in life, so much. And like you rightly said, the hackers don't sleep. So once you think you've conquered one, another one comes up. If you think you've conquered one, another one comes up. So, where do we find those information?
There's so many informations. We have Google. When you search, you will get so much information on the net around all this, and you can subscribe to them, newsletters.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm listening.
All right, Tony.
Thanks, Tony. Tony is all the way from India.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He says he has to travel.
One of my brothers from India, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Friend, yes.
That's great.
Okay.
So, where was I?
You were talking about
you said something about your children's school.
The children's school, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Don Dave. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Don Dave. Now, what they are doing is very commendable, and I would like you to encourage them to continue. One of the discussions that we are having here is companies should include in the onboarding process of new staffs into the organizations about security threats, what is obtainable right now, and how to prevent it. Like I said, majority of the threats companies, organizations face is through employees. And a lot of the employees don't really know what to do when faced with, some of them are ignorant. It's mostly the IT people that know what to do. But the IT people don't make up the whole organization.
Wow. Now
you talked about our older people.
Yeah.
Is right now they are the ones running organizations. And when you go and meet them, they don't see the value of spending money to protect their data.
Yeah.
Until they go through
the attack.
They go through the experience of being hacked. They don't see it. And, I often say this, it's being penny wise, pound foolish, because the costs of remedying that attack far outweighs what
protection.
Yeah, the protection that you would have gotten.
Okay, George, thank you very much for that. Let me just ask you this question here. It says, I'm looking at ways to sensitize people around me and my community. Please, where can I get regular information? So you've already answered that. Google.
Yes.
Google, yes. Now, George,
do a search on Google.
Google search.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any, like, some people
there is an OEM that I partner with, an original equipment manufacturer that one of their products is a security awareness training for individuals and organizations. So you can always subscribe to it.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Now, George, one more question I want to ask you. I'm taking this, so I'm taking our security offline. Yeah, but it's still online. So I'm taking it offline, an offline or online interface. So like I said in the beginning, the world has changed from the way we know it. The world has changed, and which means that, like you said, sometimes you travel, right? And I'm talking about the importance of even just having to be in communication with our family. But I'm looking at it in terms of like the importance of installing CCTV cameras. You know, some people are looking for smart solutions, security solutions in their homes where, for example, I'm away and I have children at home. And what I want is a smart security solution, seamless solution that I can actually access on my mobile phone, you know. So people are looking for those kind of things because, you know, people travel all the time for work and they live, especially in Nigeria, they leave their children with helps, they leave their children with relatives. You don't know who you're leaving your children for. People have businesses, they have shops. So are there anything that you can actually access your home? You can be looking at your house like this, wherever you are on your mobile phone, especially in a Nigerian situation where even it can work without electricity.
Yes, you have solutions like that, CCTV, webcams, where it's installed in your house, wherever you are in the world, you can connect and see what is happening within your house.
And the children can talk to you as well.
Well, the children can talk to you, but you have other means of talking to the children now. You have WhatsApp. You have FaceTime. You can talk to them on video, but basically, I don't do CCTVs, but I have colleagues that do it. And I know one of the things that they always want to do is have those cameras hidden so that it's not easily noticeable. Because if you have an intruder that gains access into your environment, the first thing they want to do is knock off your cameras so that you don't see what they are doing. Or if you have a house help that knows you have your cameras installed. So there are a lot of gadgets. You have gadgets that are like flower pots or wall clocks.
Okay.
There are various devices that you can use, have them installed at strategic places within your house and just outside your house so that you can see at every point in time what is happening in your environment.
Fantastic, George, fantastic. And is there any disadvantage to that? If somebody hacks your phone, can they see inside your house?
Yeah, they can see inside your house.
If they hack your phone?
Yeah. As I'm speaking, I'm using my laptop.
Yeah. Someone
can hack my camera.
It's a lie.
Yes, it happens.
How would they hack? George, I know I'm just asking this question like a lay person. How can they hack your camera? Can they hack your mobile phone camera as well?
Yes, they can.
Okay, George, it's as if I think I know how they can hack your mobile phone camera. You know, sometimes when you want to install something and they will say, allow so person to so app to access your cameras, do you allow that?
I said it earlier. How safe is the link that you're getting? Is it from a safe source?
Okay.
So when I get such links, even if I click on them, the moment it says allow access to contacts, allow access to video, audio, I cancel immediately, because
But there's
I'm
okay.
not sure. I'm not sure of the source.
Okay.
It's only when I am sure of the source that
Okay.
I allow it.
Okay. I do the same as well. If I'm not sure, I don't allow.
I don't allow.
Okay. Now, George, someone says that we have to be very careful.
Oh, yes.
We have to be very careful.
Yes, we have to be very careful.
Wow. Wow. This
We
is
can't we can't be too careful.
someone says here the one that someone says here one of the even one of the ways that people actually can also hack is like this person is saying here that we have to be very careful. The ones which share with 10 contacts on WhatsApp, they say, okay, share this with 10 contacts, share this with as many groups as possible. And they spies or trolls that are the potential hackers.
So as I said, as long as I am not sure of the source, I don't do that. I don't do all those share to 10 people. The moment it happens, I see it, I just move on. I don't. I know there are people that are doing it. Oh, if the Lord has blessed you, send this to 10 people. If you do not, that means the Lord has not blessed you. So, there's that guilt trip going on there. And look, I know what the word of God says concerning me. So, I mean, you can't play that trick on me. I've seen what you have sent. I'll leave it there. But I won't share.
Yeah.
Except I know that the source is authentic. I know where the source is from. Yes, then.
Thank you. Thank you so much, George. This has been a very eventful and insightful conversation. And guys, listen, if you are just watching for the first time, and listen, my name is Ibinabo Enebi, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Ibinabo Enebi. And next week, I also would have another very interesting conversation and in continuing with the Avoiding the Later Life Crisis series. So, George, it's been very interesting, and I've learned a lot. And I think that, again, like you say, the conversation is continuing, and it will continue. And in case somebody wants to contact you, now this is not, again, I don't advertise my guests, but you see, but because they provide solutions to people, and somebody may say, this person, I like this person, and I want this person to come provide a service or come to, talk to us. And how do I contact this person? How can they contact you?
They can send an email to me, and we'll take it up from there.
Okay, you don't give out your emails, do you?
No, I can give out my email.
But they can find you also on LinkedIn and on...
Yes, they can find me on LinkedIn. They can find me on Instagram. They can find me on Twitter.
Okay, George.
So on all those platforms.
Ikoli-Spiff.
Yes.
Fantastic. So, George, do you have any parting words?
Well, be safe.
Be safe.
Be safe.
Thank you. Thank you so much, George.
Be proactive, and be safe. As a people, we are mostly reactive. but you need to be proactive and put the necessary things in place to protect your data, to protect yourself. Those are my parting words.
Thank you very much, George.
Thank you, Ibn.
Yeah, and thanks everyone for joining us today. And join me again next time for another very interesting conversation on avoiding the later life crisis. And see, George, I'm going to call you, and bye, everybody. Mwah, 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 mwah. Bye. Thanks, Chakwe. Thank you, Michael. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye,
you.
George. I'll call you now.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.